Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. So if you don't know me, my name is Beth and I'm a seamstress, but I also knit and crochet. So today is just going to be the start of another knitting vlog. I feel like my channel used to be predominantly vlogs, and I feel like trialed out some other types of videos, but I don't know, I think these are fun to keep up with what I'm working on. So I thought we could just sit down and have a little catch up on like what some of my WIPs are and stuff, because I feel like I've got a lot of like knit orientated things going on this weekend, or I don't know, like ending projects and starting new ones. I'm sure you can also hear I've not been very well. I feel like I keep going up and down of like feeling better and then like feeling worse again. I definitely sound a bit weird, so yeah, sorry if that's annoying, but yeah, like I said, just wanted to have a bit of a catch up on some of my current projects, because today I'm also putting out a testicle for one of my designs. It's going to be the first knit pattern I've ever put to test and eventually will hopefully release. So yeah, we've got some work to do for that, but we'll just get into the WIPs. I should say as well, obviously by the time this video goes up, the pattern will probably already be in test, so I'm sorry if you have missed the testicle, but I guess I'll show you what pattern that's going to be for. So it's going to be for my raglan cardigan, which is basically, it's like a super basic cardi. You can kind of wear this in like so many ways, honestly, like depending on what fibre and stuff you make it in, but I have graded it. I'm hoping that it's gonna work out. There's 10 sizes, so it goes up to a 66-inch bust, but it's got 6 inches of positive ease, so you'll actually fit up to a 72. But it's 10 sizes, and from size 5 onwards, it's graded not like a typical raglan. So obviously a typical raglan, you kind of increase every other row on the body and the sleeve portions, but the way that I have graded it is so that the sleeves and the bodies increase at different rates for larger sizes, so that the yoke isn't like drastically deeper between every single size, which I know a lot of people dislike when it comes to raglans. So the maths looks like it's working, but I feel like it's always a little bit different to actually knit something up compared to just looking at it on a spreadsheet. So yeah, today I've literally this morning I've been taking photos, hence why I've actually like bothered to get ready, because I need to put the testicle out today, which means I also need to make the Google form for the applications, and then later this afternoon I'll be popping that up on my Instagram. I find that if I post anything on Instagram before like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, it does so badly. Like I get, like, when you look at your stats, you can see when your followers are more likely to be online, which I do understand that less people are online in the mornings, but firstly, like, my followers are international, so I feel like that shouldn't really matter. And also, I like timeline, like your feed isn't like a timeline anymore. Like, we don't see things chronologically, so I don't understand why they don't get shown later on. That's just a rant about Instagram. Bear in mind I have like over 14,000 followers. If I post anything early in the day, like I think I posted something the other day at like 11-12, like in the morning, and I'm not even joking you, it showed it to like 200 people. I was like, I won't be doing that again. But yeah, so I need to hold off on that till the afternoon, but it does give me some time to get everything all sorted, because yeah, like I said, I do need to get the tester form application up and just like finalize social media posts and stuff. But because that was my most recent WIP, I've also got a couple of other knit things that I need to do this weekend. So firstly, yesterday I finished these DK weight socks. So this is using the Drops Fiesta, which is the Drops new DK sock yarn. I say new, it's a newish yarn. I think it's maybe been out for like a couple of months. It's not been very long. I have been on my sock journey this year, so I'm actually wearing my other ones. So this was the first pair of socks that I knit. I knit these, I knit one like last year I think, and then I finished one early this year, and I want to make more socks because I always knit garments, but you wear socks more frequently than you wear the same piece of clothing is my logic. So I thought, I also have like a fair bit of sock yarn. I thought if I start knitting socks, it will hopefully slow down my garment knitting. They're easy to take on the go, and I wear socks every single day. I'm not someone that can go without socks. I feel like some people are like love to be barefoot and some people love to be in socks. I'm always in socks, so it makes sense that I knit them. And I was knitting a different pair. It was in my most recent podcast, my February podcast. I knit one. It was like a ribbed sock on like a normal sock gauge, so like a 2.25, and I wasn't loving it, but I really enjoyed knitting my first sock, and I wasn't sure if it was the size, the yarn, or the pattern, and I think it might have honestly been the yarn. It was just, I don't know, I did not love it. So I basically finished that sock off, and then I was putting in a wool warehouse order, and they were having a sale, and the Drops Fiesta was on sale, and like literally every single colourway was out of stock. So I ended up getting this one, which I think is like pretty cute anyway, just to wear like in my winter boots and like around the house. So yeah, I got these, and I've been using the Summerly sock project book pretty much for all the socks I've made so far, and she has a DK weight pattern, and these have actually worked up like so fast. I definitely could have worked them up quicker. I started them so today is Friday, not this Monday but the Monday before, because I was actually off work ill and then got better, and now I feel like I'm getting ill again. But I started them when I was off because I literally like couldn't bring myself to work on anything, and then instead of starting, like when I finished my cardigan, my second sample of my raglan cardigan, I knew I had to sit down and write the pattern. And my problem is when I have some like a WIP on the go, I would much rather knit than pattern write. So I told myself like I can't start anything until this has been written, and so the only thing I was working on was my socks, but I wasn't working on them in the evenings. I was only working on them on my lunch breaks because obviously I was working on my pattern in the evening. So my patterns are done and my socks are done. Basically that's a really long roundabout way of saying I need to block these today. So these have not been blocked. I literally, yeah, this is the second one. So I casted these off last night. They're ever so slightly not lined up, but I thought that that was going to be the case. So this was the first one that I did. So started the ball of yarn, obviously knit down, knit the foot. They're just like a heel flap and gusset construction, so there's no like afterthought heel or anything. So you can see here where like the kind of pattern gets disrupted, which was fine, but I had like a length left of the first ball, and I was like, I'm umming about just straight away starting the second ball, but where the second ball started in the like repeat of the pattern wasn't gonna match up to make an exact pair of socks anyway. So I started knitting the top, like the cuff, with the end of the first ball, so it kind of like goes like this, and then it kind of lined up into this like bigger white section, but you can kind of see it almost lines up the whole way down, but it just doesn't quite. But it's probably like only 3 or 4 rounds off, which I wasn't expecting them to line up at all. So this has actually worked out pretty well, and when they're on my feet, I just don't think it's noticeable. Like I said, I feel like DK weight socks are maybe a little bit less wearable because they are a bit chunky. I don't know that I'll wear these in trainers maybe, but they're more just for around the house and comfort, because I wore this red pair. I actually wore out for the first time over the weekend, last weekend, because we actually had some like really nice weather, and yeah, I actually really enjoy wearing them. So this pair I need to block today. I also, last weekend, if you caught the last vlog, I actually am now putting products in a physical shop, which is super exciting. And the place that I had to go to take the products and that, I went into a like yarn shop nearby and picked up this hank of hand-dyed wool. It's by Folkestone Harbour Yarn, and it's like this, I don't even know, it's not exactly a tonal. There are some like very slight differences, but because it's such like a pale pink anyway, I think altogether it's gonna look really nice knit into a sock. But I need to wind this into a cake today using my Swift and Yarn winder, because this is going to be the yarn I use for my next sock project. I'm actually so excited about using this as well, because I'm actually going to design the socks. So like I said, I have been pretty much following the Summerly sock project book, and I feel like from looking at that and looking at some other patterns, I feel confident to start designing my own socks. So if you don't know, I pretty much don't follow patterns. I only kind of self-draft, which is like obviously where this came from. And this year my goal is to actually start writing up my designs into patterns. And I have got this, like, I say series of designs, it's not really, because I actually haven't written any of the patterns for them, but kind of using the same cable and like eyelet motif. And I'm going to be reknitting one of the jumpers soon. And I wasn't sure whether to cast it on for my next WIP, but I'll show you what I actually cast on instead. But I'm thinking I might reuse the motif in a sock, because I feel like it will look really cute, and it's actually pretty simple. And I think that this colour will just look really nice and really pretty in like a really pretty cable and eyelet, like quite like feminine stitch pattern, I would say. So yeah, that's my next sock. And then lastly is my actual next WIP. So if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen on my story this week, I posted like one of my blocking mats. I had washed and blocked a load of swatches. So I actually swatched this originally last year and didn't get around to making it, but I added on the ruffle. So the idea for this is to be like a v-neck, kind of like tie in the front lace cardigan. And this is used in the drops. Oh, brushed alpaca, I think is the yarn name. It's kind of like, I think you'd think it would be like a mohair. It's kind of quite like a fine yarn with this really fuzzy alpaca halo, but it's a completely different gauge to mohair. It's like a 5mm needle gauge, which is what I'm knitting it on, which obviously is like super gappy, but I honestly quite like the look. With the lace, I feel like it looks quite intentional. It's really soft as well. It's not itchy like a mohair whatsoever. So if you're sensitive to mohair, this could be a good alternative, but you'd have to be really careful with your gauge. Like if you were to follow a pattern where it was like a DK and a mohair and you were to use this, you couldn't use the DK with it. You'd have to get a little bit clever about where you substitute your other like yarn weights from. But yeah, this is the swatch. And this week, not last night, the night before, I think, I cast this on. So this is the top of the back. I pretty much knit everything top down. So I cast on the back stitches. I've done a portion of German short rows, and I've done 2 rows of the eyelet repeats, and I feel like this is looking so nice. My concern is that I feel like this panel is too wide. So a piece that I recently finished was this cabled short sleeve cardigan thing, which I honestly haven't done anything with since taking it off the blocking mat, so excuse all the yarn ends, but this pretty much fits me to form exactly across the back. And so I was kind of using this as like a bit of a guide for casting on this piece, and took the measurement and obviously casted this one on, but it's way wider, and I'm concerned that like after I block it, it's also going to increase to get wider because it's lace. So I don't really know how well, can you see like how far this comes over either side? And the problem is because I want this to be quite form fitted, I'm worried that if I leave it this wide, when I go to pick up for the sleeves, I'm worried it's going to be more of a drop shoulder. Like, can you see how far over the actual kind of edge of my shoulders this comes. Like the furthest I'd want it is probably to the end of my sleeves, but even then I probably wouldn't want it that wide. So these are the stitch markers that I put in for where I was going to do the neckline, but I'm honestly considering frogging this and recasting it on, I don't know, maybe like 2 of these kind of lace, I don't know, I'm looking at these in like little groups of 4, right? It's like this is one like motif. I'm thinking of making it like 2 shorter on either side, maybe, so it would be like here, because my concern is that this yarn is so, I don't know, I don't want to say like flimsy, but it's just a single strand. Like I think this is going to stretch over time, especially if it's something tight on me and I'm going to be like tying it in the front. I really don't want it to be too baggy, so what I am considering is frogging this and casting it back on a bit shorter, but I'm not entirely sure yet. I don't know, I feel like this stitch looks so nice in this yarn. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up a Google form and get all of my testicle and everything sorted and ready to go. And then I'll probably check back in with you in a little bit, because yeah, there's some other bits I need to get done this weekend, so I'm just going to take you along with me. So I had literally just started filming the clip to say I've wound this up. So this is what she looks like. It's such like a delicate, like soft pink. I'm so excited for the socks I have in mind. And as I was about to start filming this, I was about to start saying I'm going to leave the yarn swift and yarn wind out because I'm expecting a delivery today of another hand-dyed skein, and the postman had literally just rung the doorbell as I started speaking. I'm definitely not super well. I can feel myself getting like really out of breath as I'm speaking, so sorry if that's kind of annoying, but I thought we could do like a little unboxing together and we could see what this looks like. First impressions. So I've actually never bought anything from this yarn company before. I have recently discovered Laura Penrose, who is a knitwear designer. She has like a YouTube channel. I honestly don't know how I never found her before. I feel like I'm late to the party, but one of my favorite things is when you find a new creator that you like and they just have like a whole backlog of videos. So I have just been like binge watching through her videos, and she mentioned that this yarn company a couple of times. So the yarn company is called the Fibre Fox. So this one was Focus and Harvey yarn, this one's the Fibre Fox, and I started following them on Instagram. And then when I was at work, they literally posted a thing of like they had some of their like oopsies on sale, or like ones that they weren't gonna continue with the colorways. And I've been trying to be on like a bit of a low buy year this year. I really want to start saving money, like specifically to move out, but I literally had empty, no thoughts. When I bought this, I was just like, that's nice, and bought it. So this is what the colorway looks like, and it's kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like almost like a minty green and like really pale yellow with these burgundy flecks, and basically they had limited quantities of each of the different colorways, and they're not like consistent, I think was the issue. So it was kind of like just like what one you got, but I just thought this was so pretty. And I've kind of been getting into hand-dyed yarns. I've never really used many hand-dyed yarns before, but after I bought this one I was so chuffed with it that I thought I would treat myself to another one. And yeah, so I'm gonna wind this as well. I also just got a fabric delivery from Minerva. Here in the UK it's Mother's Day at the end of March, and my mum was like, I'd kind of like one of your bags, but there wasn't any fabrics that she really wanted it in. She didn't really want like any of the florals, so we've ordered these, and low-key I'm hoping that this is going to be okay for aligning. But she wanted like this kind of tan colour on the outside. So I think this is called Camel, this colour. It's actually denim. I don't really know how well you're going to be able to see. It's kind of like a medium weight non-stretch denim. So she wants one of the zipper bags, so that's going to be for the outside. And then this is what she wanted for the lining, but this isn't actually necessarily a lining fabric. This is actually a suiting fabric, but honestly I would not make a suit out of this. It is so sheer. I don't really know how well you can see. Like, I think it will be fine for the inside of the bag for like a lining, but I would not be making the outside of a suit in this. You can see my nails. But yeah, I think that they look cute together. So outside, inside, and she kind of wants like different dimensions. She wants one a little bit smaller, so I need to make her this. This is also like, I don't know, it's kind of like textured. It's not, I don't know. I think it's too lightweight for a suit, but yeah, that's the fabric. And this is the yarn. So I'm going to wind the yarn, and then I'm probably going to block my socks because my testicle is all ready to go. The social media posts are ready to go. It's just like a bit of a waiting game now. I really need to stop filming at this angle because every time I edit I think, why are we filming at that angle? This is not a good look for me, but it's also convenient, so here we are. So testicle is up, Instagram post is up. I've sent a message to, there's a page on Instagram called Fat Test Knits, and it is actually a really good resource and it's really helpful. I used them before when I put out my testicle for my granny square jacket. Basically it's aimed towards test knitters that are in the bigger, you know, sizes. So I always struggle finding people to test bigger sizes, and they are, I mean, that's what the page is there for, is to help you find them. So I sent a message to them. They're really good. Just, yeah, a little shout out there. What else have I done? My socks are blocking. I have wound my yarns. Let me show you. They just look so good. Yeah, so this is what they look like. Incredible. Beautiful. I can't wait to cast that on. And then I have just been, okay, low-key I was scrolling on TikTok for a while there, and I've just started editing the last vlog. I pretty much edit everything on my iPad. I don't have like a MacBook laptop or anything, and I keep looking at this. It's out the corner of my eye. Normally when I edit I tend to like knit at the same time because I just go on and yap about things, so there's, you know, relatively big chunks of me just talking that I don't really need to actually watch. This is bothering me. It's bothering me looking at it because I think I am going to need to make it smaller. I wish it wasn't curling so much, so it would be like easier to show. I think I'm going to do what I said earlier and rip back and do 4 less of these eyelet sections. So I think I will probably be casting on, I think it works out to be about 24 stitches less than what I originally casted on. I just think over time, like, if this is going to stretch, we do not want this to be this wide. I don't really know why it's ended up being this wide. I don't know whether my measurement was just bad to begin with, or I don't know if it was just my maths. Let's measure. Yeah, no, something's gone wrong here. So this is measuring at 19 inches, and if I just reference my little notepad here, it's meant to be 16 inches wide. So yeah, we're definitely gonna have to rip back. Like, how does that even happen? I think partially, like I said, it's just because this yarn is low-key really flimsy, and I feel like once I block this as well, I'm concerned it's going to get bigger. So just holding the measuring tape up against it, I think that taking the 4 little lace things away is going to be perfect. I was considering 5, but I think 5 might be a bit too small. So yeah, we're literally going to need to take out this entire, like from my fingers here, this entire length. So I'm going to frog this while I'm watching back this footage, which I'm not looking forward to, because this alpaca yarn, it's like a brushed alpaca. I mean, this is what the ball looks like. This is why I was saying it looks like mohair. It's really, she is not fun to frog, let me tell you now. It is pretty much like frogging a mohair. In fact, actually, since I sit next to each other, look how cute. Okay, right, I'm gonna stop. I need to get back to editing and frogging this, and then I'll probably update you in a little bit, or when I recast this back on. But look, do you see, this isn't even where I've unraveled. This is literally just where like it was loose from the ball, so we need to be super careful with this. Okay, happy days. Video is edited. I feel like we've been productive today. So my video is edited, and I frogged back the entire start of this project. Oh my god, it was making me cringe so bad. I managed to unravel most of it, and then I caved, and this is my old cast on. I literally was just like, yeah, pulled the arm. I couldn't bring myself to pull anymore, and I've just started reknitting. Tell me why this looks so small. I actually begged someone to tell me why this is so small. Yeah, but obviously this is going off of the last one that I started, so I mean, like, it should work out, right? Because I already knit this up. These are the exact same needles and everything. The stitch markers I've got in, by the way, they're so that I can mark the necklines. Like, what I normally do is I'll cast on the back, and then I'll put stitch markers in where the neck's going to start for the front, and then when I do German short rows, that's how I can tell how far to do the German short rows too. I don't know if that makes any sense, or if anyone's interested, but I am gonna basically just sit and knit on this for a little while. This weekend I am thinking of maybe making a couple of extra products to pop in the physical shop, because I've got like fabrics, like fat quarters, that don't really fit into my collections, but they're still like, you know, perfectly fine, perfectly lovely fabrics. So what I'm thinking of doing is maybe just making up some like shop exclusives. I say exclusives, but it's literally just because that's all that I have of that fabric. So yeah, instead of putting them on the website and they're just like literally random one-offs, I'm thinking of maybe just putting them in the shop. But the thing is because my things have only been in there, they've been in there a week today, and what happens is I get sent a stock report every Monday. So obviously when I got one like on Monday just gone, my things had literally only been in there for like 2 seconds, and the thing that sold was like a flat pouch. So I don't want to suddenly make a load of flat pouches thinking like, oh, these are going to be bestsellers, when they're just not. It just so happened that I've not really got enough data to judge like what products I should be making more of yet, but I can restock whenever I like. So what I was thinking was just maybe making a couple more of the flat pouches, and then on Monday coming this week I can actually tell like what more has sold, if anything else has sold. It could very well be that nothing else has sold, you know, I don't know, and then go from there. But I think honestly for a little bit I'm just gonna sit and knit. I'm really excited about this project, and yeah, I want to kind of get it back to the point that I was at, just so I can get a better judge of actually how wide this back piece is going to be, because it just looks so small for some reason. It just looks really like not wide enough. So yeah, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna hope that this that this gets bigger, because this does not look big enough at all. So it's now a bit later on. I do apologise about the lighting, but that's just what we're dealing with. I've recast it on, and basically I've nipped past the point that I was before, actually. So before I only had the 2 rows of the lace, and now I've just done the 3rd, but I need to finish off like the stockinette band that goes with it. I'm really struggling to show you this because it's so curly, but this is about how wide it is, which I feel like doesn't look that wide, but I think once like the sleeves and everything are attached, it should pull, and it's about the same size as my cabled cardigan thing now. So I'm going to keep going with this. I need to see when to start increasing to fit around the arms, and then once this back panel's done, I'm going to pick up and knit forward for the front, and this is going to be a V-neck, so I need to figure out the rate of increase for the V, for like how deep I want it to be. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm just using this as a reference because, like I said before, this fits me really well. So width wise, I think this is looking really good. I think it's a tiny bit bigger than the cabled one, but I think that's fine because obviously this does stretch because it's cabled. So yeah, it's a little bit bigger, but I think honestly it's gonna be, well, hopefully it's gonna be perfect. So just from looking at this is about where I started increasing here for the underarm. So I think I'm gonna start doing the same. Because this is at a bigger gauge, it's gonna increase a little bit more rapidly though, so I'm not sure. I don't know if to do like another 2 rows and then increase. I don't really know. I'm at this point where I'm like, do I increase, do I not? But this is kind of like something that I do pretty often, is like using another garment for reference on sizing and measurements to design new pieces. So I need to come to a decision if I'm going to increase this or not. So it's now Saturday morning and I still feel like I sound a bit bunged up, but kind of feel a bit better. But it's now my monthlies, so we've been up and down, but because I haven't literally wanted to do anything this weekend, I feel like I've been making actually really good progress on the start of this cardigan. And I think also partially it's because this is so small, like there's really like no positive ease, and looking at this, like this looks tiny. Let me show you the back so that you can actually see the stitch a bit better. I feel like it's hard when it's like not up against something, but this fabric is so lightweight, and I'm sat on my arm, which is not helpful. I'm still on the first ball. There's still quite a lot left. So I've done the back, I've done both the fronts, and I have literally only connected for like 2 rows in the round, but I'm going to try and put this on so you can kind of see what it looks like. I feel like I have the same problem with this that I had with my little grey cabled cardigan thing, in that this looks so small. I feel like I look like I'm wearing Shrek's little vest thing, but this is where I'm at. I was a bit concerned that it was going to be quite far up in my armpits, but I think like once the sleeves are on and everything, it's going to be fine. I feel like it's always hard to tell on your first couple of like rounds when you connect. I think you have to get a little bit down the body before you start to really get a better idea of how it's going to sit. Plus obviously the more of the body that you knit and the more weight that starts going on down here, the more it will pull. I can't imagine that this is going to pull loads because it is so lightweight. Like this literally, I mean, this is probably maybe 25 grams of yarn. I can't remember exactly. I think these are 50-gram balls, so it's super lightweight, super airy. But yeah, since I want this to be quite form fitted, I think once the sleeves are on, it will look really nice. Another thing as well, let me show you this side because the light's on this side. I was worried that when I picked up for the seams it was going to look really like bulky and jarring because this yarn is so delicate, but actually you can't see it like at all, I feel. So I think when I pick up for the arms, my bed is so creaky, it probably won't actually be that much of a problem. Like I feel like you can hardly even see there. Let me see if I can. You can see on the back, like on the inside, but on the outside it's nothing. It literally just looks continuous. So I'm really happy with how this is looking. I am really enjoying the colour. I'm really enjoying, let me take this off. I'm really enjoying the lace. I've never knit anything, I do keep getting it caught on everything though. I've never knit anything fully in lace before, so that has also been really fun. And yeah, this yarn is super nice. I do feel like, I'm going to say it now, this finished project is going to be really delicate, and I'm a little bit worried about like washing and blocking it. I feel like I'm going to have to be like super careful with it, just because it is just so fine. And the other thing that I'm worried about as well is, obviously, after I've worn it a few times, I worry that on areas of like high friction where you'd normally get pills, so like under the arms and stuff, I'm concerned that this might start to lose a bit of its fluff, because the fluff is really the only thing that is like filling the gaps between the stitches. So I don't know if you can see, the stitches are actually super like gappy, and yeah, it's just all fluff. But I also feel like this might not be a cardigan that I wear all the time. It's quite like feminine, quite delicate. I can't imagine I'll be wearing it super frequently, or if it is something that I really love, then maybe I'll knit another version in something more durable or something a little bit thicker but at the same gauge, because the reason I wanted to knit this was to have something like a more dressier piece of knitwear. So like, for example, we have a family wedding. It's not until like closer to the end of the year, so it's not until October, but I don't really have any pretty cardigans so like to wear with dresses and stuff. So that's kind of what the vibe for this was. So that's why I say I don't think I'll wear it that much, not because I don't like it, but just because of the kind of style of garment and the occasion. So but yeah, I'm really actually enjoying working on this. It's working up super fast. It's on 5mm needles, and then I think just plus the fact that it's not really oversized and it's not a lot of positive ease, it's just working up really fast. So I think today me and my boyfriend might be going out for a little bit to one of the pubs near us, because it's St. Patrick's Day on Monday and he's more into that kind of thing, and there's like a local pub that's got some like bands on. And I don't know if I'm going to take this, but I might take a sock to work on. So I don't actually know that I'll get the chance to like sit and work on it, but since it will probably just fit in my bag, I might just take this yarn from the Folks and Hobby yarn one and maybe start working on a sock. I'm not sure yet. We really need to like solidify our plans, but yeah, I will update you when something of interest happens with either of these projects. So it's now Sunday morning and I keep telling myself I'm going to stop knitting because I really need to clean my room. I always do like a deep clean on a Sunday, but I've honestly just been sat here knitting for ages, so do excuse the mess behind me. It's obviously a hair wash day, still not feeling great, but thought I'd quickly just update you on these WIPS. So this is how far I am. This is the inside. With this cardie, I feel like I've made pretty good progress, considering I only started this not yesterday, the day before, but I didn't work on this really much yesterday at all. And this is pretty much one ball, so I've just connected my second ball, but it was just to finish off the edge or the end of this very last row. I feel like I'm holding this up, this is kind of hard to show, but this is how much progress I've made on the body. So I'm still at a point where I'm still increasing out at the front at the same rate that I'm going at. So we're basically going to keep knitting back and forth until that point, and then I think I'm going to maybe do like 1 or 2 rows of it there and then start decreasing back out so that it gives it like this shape, and then it's going to have a tie at the front. And then yeah, I think, I'm not sure yet, I might decrease at a faster rate that I increased, so that basically so that the bottom of the cardigan is shorter but it goes out a lot quicker, because I want it to have like a long ruffle which is going to add length, so I don't want the actual body piece to be really long, but I mean, this is so lightweight, like this feels so delicate, but it's really soft. It's really nice to work with. It's got a good amount of stretch, obviously for something that's going to be kind of not form fitted, but you know. Didn't get started on my sock yesterday, but I have been starting it off now because I think I'll probably take this as my work, like lunchtime whip. So I have really not got far at all. So this is, I think I've shown this like so many times now, Folkestone Harbour yarn, and I have pretty much just done a cuff, and then I've done the first round where there's going to be like eyelets and cables. I had to fiddle around with this motif a little bit. It's not going to be exactly the same as the jumper and the cardigan, just because of making it match up with like a sock stitch count. Like the stitch count that I'm going for is like 64 in the round, which I think is pretty standard. But to get that, obviously to have it divisible by 2 is 32, and to get the 32 for each side, it just wasn't working out. So instead of having, basically on the cardigan and jumper versions, there's like 2 pearls between every motif. I've had to spread it so that there's 3, so that it just, yeah, fits in a lot better. But I'm trying to find, so where I'm splitting this for my magic loop is in the middle of pearl stitches, and you can see here it's making these bits really like ladder. So I think what I'm gonna do is on my next round, I'm basically, where my start of round is, I start with a pearl 2 and then it ends with a pearl 1. So there's 3 pearls together, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna knit as if I'm gonna split my needles so that all 3 pearls are together, so it will end on a knit, and then the next row will start on a pearl, if that makes any sense. And I'm hoping that it's gonna help with the laddering situation, because otherwise I'm gonna have to frog back to the cuff and knit these another way. But I'm hoping that that should sort it out. I don't even really think you can see, maybe you can, this is ever so slightly variegated, but I actually don't think you can tell on camera right now. It's so slight, the colour change, because this is such like a delicate colourway. I don't even know if you can see it in the ball. I feel like the darker bits almost look like shadow, but they're actually darker bits. But yeah, I am in desperate need of cleaning up my room, because that is what I do on a Sunday. So I need to stop knitting and clean up for a bit, and I also need to do my nails. But the problem is, because it's so sunny, which we love, I can't really actually do my nails right now because it like UV cures all of the gel polish. I do like Gel X. So I think what I'm gonna do, blitz my room, sort my things out, carry on knitting for a bit, and then I'll probably do my nails later this evening after dinner when it's actually dark, so that I can actually do them properly. So yeah, I'll probably show you in a little bit if I get any more knitting done today, and then we'll just wrap up the video there. Truthfully, I have not started cleaning up yet. We're gonna do that in a minute, but I have decided I'm gonna frog back on this sock. So I moved my start of row, I moved my magic loop, which is definitely helping with the laddering situation, because on the edge I've got a knit and then a pearl instead of doing it in the middle of the pearls. The problem is I do not love how gappy this is. I think you can kind of see here more how the colours are looking, but yeah, I don't love how spread out this is. So clearly this rib is 2x2 rib, and then these pearl gaps in between are 3 pearls. And I was thinking, I was trying to make the stitch counts work with 2 in between. I think even then there's just so much empty space, like there's just so much pearl gap space in between the cables and the eyelets that I don't want to do that. So after my room is clean, I'm not going to do it now, I'm gonna frog back to the top of the ribbing and re-pick up here, and I'm gonna do it so that the pearls in between are only one stitch, so it'll be one purl, one knit, one purl, and then the next section. And I think I've figured out a way to do it stitch count wise to get to the 64 stitches. And I know the thing is, it was either working out to be like 66 or 64, and I know I could have just gone to 64, but honestly I don't want to rip back this whole cuff now to start again. But yeah, the yarn, super beautiful. I'm really enjoying the yarn. I also, which was not in my plans, is kind of like a bit of a random one, so Knit Picks, the what are they, American based yarn company, reached out to me to send me some yarn, which I don't have to speak about, and I'm not going to go into it here. I'll probably do it in acquisitions in the end of month podcast. But they basically sent me, I think it was like 5 or 6 different balls and hanks of their yarn, but nothing was repeats. They basically sent me a load just to see what different lines were like, which obviously makes it a bit more limited on what you can do with it. And it wasn't something that I got to pick out. They basically send like a questionnaire, and then I said like what colours and what fibres I liked, and they have essentially picked out what they thought I might like, which is quite exciting actually, because it gives you the challenge of actually using something that I haven't necessarily picked out, but that they actually think that I would really enjoy. And one of the things they sent me was this woolen cotton this is the Cedar Heather colour, which is just this really dark, well, it's not really dark, it's just this dark forest green. And this colour, literally as soon as I opened up the bag, I was like, this colour is just like my boyfriend's favourite colour. Like, he owns so many clothes in this colour, he loves it, like his room decor and everything. And I was like, oh my god, I've got to make him something with this yarn, because I've only got the one of it, and it's a DK weight, but it's actually 100 grams. So I'm hoping that I might be able to make him a hat out of this, like a beanie. I was looking at the hipster hat by Petite Knit, which is just like an all over 2x2 rib. It's got like a folded brim and just decreases to the top. I haven't ever knit hats before because I don't wear them really at all. I will maybe make myself a hat, because in my advent calendar I did get yarn for a hat from Onling, and it's brioche, and I think it would look really cute. But I might even just knit it and then give it to someone in my family that might like it. But yeah, this has got, like, if I hold it up, all these specks of like turquoise and like little bits of brown and yellow. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get a hat out of this, because I was speaking to him about it yesterday, and I just said I'm worried I'm going to be a little bit short, but he wouldn't even mind if it was like you know, the fisherman beanies that are like the shorter beanies. So I think I'm just gonna cast it on and go, and if I think I'm going to run out of yarn, I might just make like either the fold shorter or just the whole kind of head portion and just decrease earlier on in the pattern. But that's sort of what I'm looking at. So I wanted to show you this before the sun goes down, because this was on the floor, so I need to clean it up. Yeah, like I said, I won't go into all of the other ones. I'll probably just show you that in the end of month podcast. And the other thing is my socks have now dried, because they've been sat in my window. So these are my DK weight socks. I love when you take socks off of the blocking mats and they're just so perfectly formed. So this is what they ended up looking like. I found that in the DK weight socks, I don't get ladders. It just tends to be on smaller weight yarns, I find. So yeah, super happy with these. So I'm going to take these off the blocking mats, and I need to weave in the ends at the top, and also I haven't weaved them in at the toe either. I just kitchen stitched, and then the yarn's just on the inside. So I'm gonna finish these off, and then I might even wear them this week to work, because although it's really sunny, it's actually still really cold. So yeah, I need to stop procrastinating. We need to get on to sorting out this room. So I've done my nails and I restarted my sock, and I'm really pleased that I restarted my sock. So my nails, they weren't quite the vision, but they're meant to be like a picnic blanket with these little bugs on. I haven't oiled my cuticles though, so ignore that. But they're done, they're fine, they'll do for 2 weeks. But yeah, I restarted my sock, and this is what it's looking like. Obviously it's cinching a bit at the minute, because it's obviously it's cabled. Let me see if I can like stretch this out so that you can kind of see. I'm definitely glad that I did it closer together. I feel like if I'm doing a cabled sock, I don't want most of the sock to just be like purl stitches, because I feel like it's just wasting space. That could be, well, it's not even completely cabled, it's actually more eyelets than it is cables. Let me see if I can. So basically there's like 3 of these eyelet rows on either side and 2 cables, and I wanted it to be continuous, but I've done it so that it's mirrored because of the stitch count. And then when I get down to the foot portion, obviously the bottom of the foot is going to be stockinette anyway, so only one of these sides is actually going to continue down like across the top of the foot, so it didn't really matter too much. But I think it looks so cute in this yarn. It's like the vision is coming to life. I'm so pleased with it. So yeah, I think I'm going to end the video here. It's Sunday night. I need to clean everything up, get ready for work tomorrow. So if you made it to the end, then thank you so much for watching. Obviously, if you want to see how these projects end up, don't forget to subscribe. And if you like this video, definitely drop it a like, because it really helps the algorithm and everything. I'm over on Instagram at Fashion by Beth. TikTok is the same, Ravelry, etc. By the time this video goes up, my cardigan should be in testing, and the next video will be the end of the month podcast, so you'll be able to see obviously if I finish these things and how far I get and any new projects I do. So yeah, hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.